Hello, friends, and welcome back to the pinegrovebriar, the coziest corner of the podcasting world, where smoke curls gently from the bowl of history and tales swirl in the air like a good Virginia leaf. I'm your host, and today we're saddling up for a wild ride with none other than Martha Jane Cannary, better known to the dusty saloons and frontier camps as Calamity Jane. She was bold, she was brash, and her life is a tangled ball of yarn made up of fact, fiction, and a fair bit of her own creative storytelling. So pack a bowl of your favorite tobacco, settle into that chair, and let's get into the grit, gristle, and greatness of Calamity Jane. Before we get into the story, though, let me remind you of our friends at the Gatlinburg Tobacconist, found on Level D at the Mountain Mall in Gatlinburg. Like I say every time, it's like walking into Disney World for a tobacco lover like me. Also, check out our friends at Lee's Bait and Tackle, found in the Northtown Plaza at the top of the 4 lane in Oneida, Tennessee. They make custom plastics, and several baths later, I will attest to the effectiveness of their custom plastic lizards. Also, check out our friends at Sewell's Woodworks on Etsy. They have several 3D printed items and wood products as well, so check them out on Etsy. By the way, today I have Frank's Blend back in my briar pipe. And I've said this many of a time, but I'll say it once again. I don't know Frank personally, but I love Frank's Blend. So that's what we're smoking today. Now, if you're imagining a woman in buckskins slinging a rifle from horseback and fussing and fighting with men twice her size, you're not far off. Born in 1852 in Missouri, Martha Jane Cannary grew up rough. She and her family moved back to Montana. She moved to Montana during the gold rush. By age 12, she was an orphan, making her the provider for her family. By age 15, she was driving oxen and shooting rifles out west. There was no charm school involved for Miss Martha Jane. She followed the railroad and the military, often working as a dishwasher, laborer, dance hall girl, and teamster. She was on the Newton-Jenny expedition in 1875 and General Cook's expedition in 1876. And she dressed in soldiers' uniforms to avoid getting caught or detected. She ended up in Deadwood, South Dakota during the Black Hills Gold Rush. She claimed to have scouted for General Custer, though historians, they kind of eye that one with a little suspicion. And by her 20s, she was known as Calamity Jane. The story goes that she earned the nickname by saving a captain during an Indian skirmish, and he is the one that dubbed her Calamity for her bravery. Some say the name could have come from her own warning that any man that crossed her would court Calamity. Or Calamity just followed her around like a bad habit. Really depends on who you ask. She traveled with Wild Bill Hickok, and yes, that Wild Bill. And she claimed to have loved him, though evidence of romance between the two is as thin as a cobweb in a windstorm. But in 1891, she married Clinton Burke, who was a hack driver, which was basically a person who drove a horse-drawn carriage. Martha Jane appeared in Buffalo Bill's Wild West show and the Pan American Exposition in Buffalo, New York. Due to her alcoholism, she ended up getting fired. Calamity returned to the Black Hills of South Dakota in 1903. And unfortunately, was in pretty rough shape from a hard living lifestyle. On August the 1st, 1903, at the age of 47, but he died in the town of Sarah. I'll get my tongue untied because, as you all know, I can't go an entire episode without getting my tongue tied. But she died in the town of Terry, South Dakota, which is about 7 miles south of Deadwood. Local businessmen in Deadwood made haste, and I mean in a hurry, to get her body and buried her next to Wild Bill. She was fond of storytelling, often the subject of those stories being herself. In one version, she told, she's a frontier nurse tending to sick miners, and miners being miners, as in gold miners, coal miners, however you want to put that. In another, she's battling outlaws and rescuing damsels in distress. In another of her stories, Calamity said that during a fight in 1872 in Goose Creek, Wyoming, a man was shot and she pulled him onto her horse and saved his life. Truth is, the real Calamity Jane was probably somewhere between the dime novel and the documentary. What makes Calamity Jane so endearing? Or endearing? Okay, maybe both. But what makes her so endearing? What makes her story so endearing? Maybe it's the contradictions. She drank hard and fought harder, but was also known to be generous, especially to children and the sick. She once rode 90 miles through a storm to deliver medical supplies. She also rode into towns drunk, cursing like a sailor and dressed like a cowboy. She blurred every single line. She was a woman trying to fit into a man's world. She was a woman and a warrior, caregiver, and calamity. And let's be honest, if she was around today, she'd probably be running a biker bar, give you the shirt off her back, and cuss out the jukebox all at the same time. That leads me to the part of the podcast that is probably one of my favorite parts, the pinegrovebriar mailbag. I love getting stuff from y'all, so you just keep on sending them. And these, I mentioned Calamity Jane a few episodes ago, and we have some fitting comments. Daryl from Lubbock said, "Hey, Pine Grove." I like being called Pine Grove. That's all right. Hey, Pine Grove, I've always wondered, did Calamity Jane really love Wild Bill, or was it just tabloid gossip, frontier style? Daryl, that's a great question. She claimed they were close. She wrote a letter even saying she wanted to be buried next to him, which she was, but Wild Bill, he never mentioned her romantically. So my guess is she probably loved the idea of him. A classic case of Wild West unrequited love. Sarah in Vermont said, "Dear Pine Grove, what blend would Calamity Jane smoke if she had a pipe today?" Sarah, I'm going to go with a bold English blend with a spicy Cavendish twist. Something that smells like campfire and regrets, but in the best way. Benny from Idaho said, "Howdy." Where I'm from, we say howdy. Howdy. Love the podcast. Was Calamity Jane actually at Little Bighorn? Benny, I'm going to tell you this short answer. No, she was no. She said she was, but again, Calamity Jane claimed a lot of things, including that she was secretly a princess raised by wolves. Okay, I made that last one up, but barely. Calamity Jane died in 1903. Her legend most definitely lives on, though. She was broke, probably sick from the drinking and pneumonia, but with a laugh behind her that no one could call boring. She was buried next to Wild Bill, just like she wanted. But I don't know that anyone asked him about that whole burial situation. He may or may not have wanted that. We'll never know. Even now, her story lingers like a good pipe smoke, bold and a little mysterious, and hard to pin down. So, here's to Calamity Jane, to living on your own terms, to telling your own story, even if you stretch the truth like a piece of frontier jerky. So thanks for riding along with us on this one, friends. We'll be back next time with another tale, another bowl of tobacco, and another night around the Pine Grove Briar. If you'd like to help support the Pine Grove Briar, contact us at pinegrovebriar@gmail.com. Or if you'd like, just drop us a line. Feel free. Like I said, I love to hear from y'all. Please be sure and like, share, and subscribe to the Pine Grove Briar. We're available on all kinds of different platforms. We're looking to expand and get this platform that we are not platform. What's the word I'm looking for? Sometimes I have a hard time looking for words, but finding words, not looking for them. I look for them all the time, but finding them is a little bit different story. We're looking to get this nailed down, and we've got some different ideas for some future episodes, but keep listening, and there are a few things we need to expand on. So if you want to support us, as I said, contact us at pinegrovebriar@gmail.com. Until then, keep your pipe lit, your powder dry, and your stories true.